Bears! This is Bear Blast, the official podcast of student life at Mott Community College. Whether you're new to campus or have been here for a while, this is your spot to catch up on what's happening, hear real stories from students and staff, and find new ways to get involved. From events and campus tips to student success stories and special guests, we're here to help you make the most of your time at MCC. Let's get started.
Hello, and welcome to the Bear Blast podcast. My name is Kennedy, and I am a student employee in student life here at Mott. I am with you today because Alicia sadly couldn't be here to join us, but we are incredibly excited about the topic we have here today, alumni perspective, advice from former student leaders. But before we get into that, I want to introduce you guys to today's guest. I'm going to have you guys go around, say your name, major, and graduation date.
Okay. My name is Jennifer Cronkrite. So I am a current Mott, I'm not a current Mott student, I'm a former Mott student. So I graduated here in 2022, and I was a graduate, I guess I didn't really have a major. I just was liberal arts degree, so an associate in liberal arts. I went to U of M, and I'm actually graduating my bachelor's next month. I'm a history major with a minor in communication that has been completed.
My name's Jacob Baker. I'm a part of the Mott Dental Hygiene program, and I'll graduate about next year.
My name is Aaliyah Anderson. I am also majoring in dental hygiene, and my graduation date isn't until about 2028.
My name is Alexis Henderson. I graduated in 2023 with my associates in arts and my associates in science. And I am currently at the University of Michigan Flint getting my bachelor's degree in history with honors distinction.
Hello, everyone. It's me again, Valerie Gilbert, graduating this year, May 2025, from the dental hygiene program, and I'm so excited.
Hi, this is Mahmouda. I just got accepted into the nursing program, and I will start from this fall. Hopefully, I will graduate within next 2 years.
My name is Kennedy. My major is in associates in science, and I'm hoping to graduate, the summer 2026, I think.
Mm-hmm. That seems all right.
Yep. For those of you who have been with us before, welcome back, and thank you for joining us on the Bear Blast podcast. And to anyone new joining us, welcome. As I mentioned, our topic today is alumni perspective, advice from former student leaders, insight and advice from alumni who are involved in SPAC or similar councils. For my first questions today is for the alumni in the room. What leadership roles did you hold while you were a student, and how did they shape your college experience?
I guess what didn't I do when I was here would be Alexis is laughing because she knows. I was on CISA, which is a Cultural Exploration Student Association. I served as president, the vice president, as secretary. I was the chair for CLEF. I was on SPAC, which used to be PSAC. You guys changed the name.
Great choice, by the way.
Mm-hmm. I think it's a great choice. I don't know why nobody thought of that when I was here. I feel like we weren't doing our leader duties. What else was I in? I was in
Clowns.
Yep, I was the clowns.
You were a clown?
I was a clown. I was
one semester with me.
Toodaloo.
What was your clown name?
Toodaloo.
Toodaloo.
I'm going to find your clown thing, and I'm going to be like, I need to know what outfit I
can
know.
send you pictures, Kennedy.
Yeah,
Please do. I need to know.
So many pictures. I was in honors. I was in Phi Theta Kappa. I was the president. I think that may have been it. There may be more, but
may have been it. Like you didn't just say the entire.
You were also a student worker for multiple positions.
Yeah, I was a student worker, like in admissions, student life, and an FLC at one time. So
you can only work 20 hours a week. What were you doing?
I was a busy girl.
Me too, girl. Me too.
Yeah, so I was busy.
Your day is similar, like 24 hours, or you have more?
I think that there's a longer day. I just don't tell people about the extra hours I have. They're hidden somewhere.
She actually has like a 32-hour day she's just not telling us about.
I don't tell you about those bonus hours that are hidden somewhere. But we had a lot of leadership hours. But I think what I was going to say just really quickly is that when you lead and you're a student leader, you tend to do a lot of leadership. I think that people lean heavy on you. Oh, and I was in Black Student Union because they didn't have any other students. So, and I'm not gonna like identify myself as a race, but I'm little Caucasian-y. They needed a person, and we were trying to make it happen. So I made it
I
happen.
know that's right, girl.
So I made it happen. We needed that fourth, and I was the fourth because we had a mission, and I was trying to make it happen. So.
You're just a sister in disguise, you know?
Yes, very much.
Well, I care about culture and about people, so there we go.
Yep.
So.
Yep.
All right. I also did a few different things, not nearly as much as Jennifer, but we also crossed paths a lot.
We did.
I worked in student life for 2 semesters as well as a student life ambassador. I was also a clown for 2 semesters. My clown name was Cosmo. I was also part of the honors program. I was a part of the NSLS, and very last minute, I also had joined PTK as well. And I think that was it that I can remember off the top of my head, at least. Oh, I do remember one. I was also a chair on CLEF, on the CLEF committee.
Yeah, I was on NSLS too, but you were on CLEF.
Yeah.
All right. You guys sound like you've done way more than me. I've done a little bit in my time here. I just want to throw that out. I was also in CLEF. I'm the student chair. So I've actually seen at least maybe some of you in there, and most recently. I want to say if other students are interested in it, you should definitely join. It's a great experience. You get to see a lot, and you get to be a part of the community and helping do some amazing things. I'm also a part of NTHS, which is the National Technical Honor Society. I'm the vice president of that. I'm in the dental hygiene program. I'm also a work study and the marketing. I've also helped out at the foundation. I go between those two, and also part of SPAC.
Okay. And then did you guys have anything else you wanted to say about like how doing all those things shaped your experience?
I guess my question to the people who've graduated before me, how did you not lose your head? Because I feel like I'm always running around.
It does happen. So
Absolutely.
when I started out with leadership positions, it starts to, if you take on a little bit, it starts to help you organize, and you start getting a nice distinction of how to like plan events and how to network and how to be a person. If you start taking on too much, you start to go into burnout. So there's like an equal balance, and you'll start to notice the whole burning out. But I think a lot of us, we feel like this ability to put a lot on our shoulders, and you don't want to let people down. And then you see the burnout start to happen.
I will definitely confess I've felt some burnout this last semester with how much I've been saying yes to and what I have left to do before graduation. So I hope that you students please manage it better than I did.
Yeah, to add on to that, I would say being a student leader and doing all of these different things, I did everything within my last 2 semesters. I wasn't involved in anything previous to that besides the NSLS, but I couldn't do anything with the NSLS because I had joined during COVID. So I couldn't do anything because there wasn't anything to do. But I would say doing these types of things, it not only like affected like how things happened, I would say it defined my experience here at Mott those last 2 semesters, because everything I did, in a sense, related back to all of my student leadership positions. And trying to manage everything, it's hard. It can be hard, especially when you throw yourself in to the deep end sometimes, you just have to remember to always to try to put yourself first in a lot of situations too. You have to take time for yourself. You have to make sure you're taking care of yourself, because you can't pour from an empty bucket. You have to make sure your mental health and everything else, and your grades too, because first and foremost, that is why you are here in college. If your grades are starting to slip, then you might want to take a little bit of a step back to make sure you're actually focusing on what it is that you are here to do. And so that's another really important thing that I think some people might forget sometimes, is you're here for college. You're here for your classes. That is what you are paying for. And it's not cheap. It is not cheap. And while, yes, I think you should always take advantage of these extra opportunities if you're able to, you have to be able to put yourself first.
I agree with you. I think students like me need a reminder to take a step back and to say no and take care of yourself, because oftentimes I feel like I'm disappointing people by not saying no. So I'm just like, I'll do it. I'll get it done. I'll figure it out. But then I'm stressed out. I'm worrying about my classes, which is the number one, like Alexis here said. But then my grades suffer.
Definitely. And then this is a question for like the staff in the room. How do you think involvement in SPAC or similar councils prepare a student for success after graduation?
So like even with myself, it definitely builds a resume. When you walk into a job and you have these great skill sets, you have a lot of like skills in your toolbox to use. When I went into my jobs that I've had since then, I did event planning, high event planning. I was able to do things that somebody who may have already had that experience, but I didn't have it, but because I did it in school, I had that experience. So I was able to, it was competitive, I want to call it. So that was what I had. So I think that's something that we do give our students, that competitive edge when they go into like those job fields.
To add on to that, because I completely agree with what you said, there's a lot of skills that I was able to build. I was a very shy, quiet, and outspoken person before becoming a student leader. And when I started getting involved in more things around campus, I had to get pushed outside of my comfort zone, and it allowed me to develop a lot of skills that I would have never acquired beforehand. But on top of that, also, by doing and like being a part of all these things on campus, you're networking, which is huge for your career. That is how I got my current position that I'm in now. And just from knowing people, making friends around campus, talking, when you're in these positions, you get to see a lot of the back end stuff that other students don't get to see around the college. Like y'all just told me that you guys were in the meeting with the president. Mm-hmm. How often does that happen for a regular student body population? Right. You are able to meet people that are higher up. There's other opportunities that are available for you. Sometimes you learn about these opportunities faster than other students around campus. And that definitely gives you a good competitive edge when it comes to trying to get into the job field after. And then even, like Jennifer said, building up on your resume as well. Because like I remember there was this one thing that I got to be a part of because I was a student worker for Student Life. And I got to go with people that were higher up in the college. Jennifer actually does it too. And we go down to Lansing, and you go and you talk to a bunch of state representatives. How often is someone able to do that typically? Mm-hmm. You go around, you sit down, you have a meeting with them, very small, very intimate, and you meet a bunch of people. And you get to do it in a casual way. Like we all rode one of the Mott buses down together. Our CFO sat behind me, and we talked and were joking around with each other. Like that does not, that's pretty cool. Yeah. It gives you way more experiences and networking opportunities, I would say.
Yeah, I can kind of agree to that. Being a part of SPAC, with this being my second semester, I actually got to go to one of the breakfast board members meeting, and there I met Congresswoman McDonald and got to take a picture with her and got to mingle and, network, like you said, with those important people that make a difference for us and our future children that are going to be in our spots when we're done and graduated. And I just feel like that just gives a good feeling on my end, knowing that I can listen to my peers and my student body and be able to relay their concerns to someone that has the power to make a change.
Yeah. It's like, so you're networking with people that are higher up in the college, the faculty, the administration, but also take advantage of networking with your peers as well. Yeah. Because it's one of those moments where you never know where somebody else is going to end up. So talk to people, make those friends, make those connections, add people on LinkedIn, add people on social media, and it can help you get so much job opportunities in the future. Like you just don't know what kind of opportunities are out there until you try to make those connections.
Yeah. I agree.
Okay, so for our next question for our alumni in the room, it's what were some of your biggest challenges as a student leader?
For me, I can go first this time, Jen, to give you a little break.
Thank you. I appreciate you.
I think one of my biggest challenges was learning how to properly manage my time. because, like I said previously, going into this, I kind of threw myself into the deep end. I wasn't really involved with anything around campus because I was a student during COVID, so there wasn't anything I could do. But then when this college started opening back up and then I was able to get a part of all these opportunities again, it was like a lot just randomly being thrown on me. And I was like, okay, this is really cool, but how do I handle this? And because you're not just managing your school, you have your classes, you have whatever opportunities that you're being a part of. So you guys are part of SPAC, you're going to have like deadlines and things you're going to have to meet for that. But then also on top of that, everyone has their own personal life and their own personal issues that they are dealing with. And that alone can be a lot to manage depending on a person's situation. So trying to figure out time management, I would say, would be one of my big things. And learning, as some people have mentioned, telling people no. That and like learning how to set boundaries. Mm-hmm. And that is so huge, and things that Jen and I still, like, we work together now and we still talk about and we're still working on together. And like, so like I said, like some of these things, like they carry on. Like it's not going to be a one like fix, like, oh, well, that's an easy fix. No, it's going to be like, it could take people years of working and building these skills that, there's so many challenges that you could face. It really depends on a person's situation. But for me personally, time management and learning how to tell people no was for sure big things for me, and big things I know for a lot of people.
I was going to say what Alexa said is 100% right. It is definitely boundary setting, being transparent, and being honest with people. Alexis and me work together, so we're kind of accountability buddies. By the way, that is something students, I think, that we don't take advantage of, is finding someone who's accountable with you to kind of hold you accountable and be your friend and say, like, hey, you look like you're burning out. You need help. I'll help you. The other thing is like, when you set those boundaries and you're honest with somebody, I just had a partnership thing that Alexis kind of was helping me through. It also helps keep you grounded. It keeps your emotions in check so that you don't have problems and you're able to get your work done. And it keeps things in priority.
So would you say like Alexis is sometimes a soundboard for personal and work?
Yes. There's many times that I go from my office to hers and she can hear through the wall, by the way.
Yeah, my
and
office is right behind.
As soon as we go to the meeting, she already knows. She's like, I already heard, buddy. And I'm like, yes, I need you. So she knows.
Or the random text we get from each other at like 10 at night sometimes, just like, hey, are you up? Can I call you real quick?
Yep. Yes. Or like I will tell her, like, by the way, we're in like the same classes at U of M. So she'll ask me, did you get this done? And we were like having hard weeks. Yeah. And I was like, you should get that essay done. She's like, I'm trying, buddy. And we go back and forth, like, you can do it. Really, you can. And I'm like, you got to get this done. She's like, oh, I'm so tired. I can't. So we're pushing each other. You really need to find those people. And you can find those people. But just finding someone to kind of lean on is going to be the most helpful thing. So
I guess I just want to add to that. Some students aren't willing to step out and find people because they're shy. So my advice as a student is ask around, put your feelers out, and be open to help people, and they'll reciprocate, and they'll watch out for you.
That's true.
This is definitely like something I've struggled with as a student leader. I am in a lot at the moment, and I keep saying yes to stuff. And so like my grades, as I'm building relationships with people and getting into more stuff, they're starting to slip because I just want to go fun. I want to go have fun. I want to hang out with people. But then I'll get a new professor and they like to assign things on random dates and not have like a set day at the end of the week. So I need to like be more restrictful with myself and watch when assignments are due and watch my grades more heavily and set aside time to study and do all that.
I think that has to come down to reminding these people personally, is telling them, hey, I have this upcoming, and being transparent with them, like they said, and also remembering you're paying for this. So it's not just your grade, but it's your money you're putting into this. And the more you take away from it, the more potentially you could be wasting.
And that accounts for people who, even if you have financial aid and you don't really have to worry about tuition payments, or some people, they don't have to worry about books. Some people for sure do, but some people are lucky and they are able to like get those scholarships and grants. But even if it doesn't feel like you're paying for it, it's good to remember that you still absolutely are, because those are only limited resources that you have available for a specific amount of time throughout your time in college. And so that's also still important to remember, because like, yeah, you might not feel like you're paying for it now. And so it's like, stuff happens, but it will, like, if you were to try to change major, because some people like, they try to go and then they'll change majors and then they don't realize that like by changing your major, that financial aid, like that, if you have only a specific amount of semesters to use this financial aid, it doesn't restart when you change majors or do something. So make sure you're taking advantage of the time that you have while you have it, so you're not wasting your money and time as well.
Well, you both said something very very useful, and I don't think a lot of students realize that with financial aid, free money isn't free. So if you're a student, you get burnt out, your grades drop, financial aid can come back and bite you, because you can lose aid if your grades drop below so low. If you get burnt out and you don't attend class, your attendance, and you've gotten a refund, they can make you pay it back. So there are stipulations to these things, and they're based on grade and performance with attendance. And I think a lot of people miss that. I've had students tell me like, well, I didn't do well and I didn't go to class because I was burnt out. And then they end up owing money back that they've been refunded. So those things can happen to students. It does happen. So it is one of those things to keep in check, because those things have happened to good students who just, they went through a rough time and they weren't doing it intentionally. They got burnt out. They didn't say no and they got overwhelmed, and it does happen.
Yes, and that is why taking care of your mental health while being in college is so important. It should definitely, if it's not a priority, you should make it a priority, even though it's hard to say that when you get so busy with everything, because, a lot of students, they have work, plus their classes, plus if they are student leaders, like a lot of people in the room, then it's hard. It's hard, but you have to just make it a priority for yourself and for your future.
I think one more thing we should think about, it's proper use of our time. Like if you are having a party, then enjoy the party, and you are at a party, you don't have to worry about I have a due assignment or something, because end of the day you will be like, oh, I couldn't enjoy the party properly because I was stressed out, I was worrying about my assignments. And when you are doing assignments, don't worry oh, I missed a party, and then it will take a long time to finish the assignment. So I would say learn how to use the time properly. When you were at a club enjoying, just enjoy. When you are doing your assignments, just do the assignment, focus on your assignment. So learning how to use your time properly, it will help you a lot.
I completely agree, because a lot of people don't realize that even if you are trying to prioritize your mental health, if you're sitting there still stressing, if you're trying to lay down or something just to relax for a little bit, watch a TV show, but if you are still sitting there and worrying about all the stuff you have to do, you're not actually relaxing. You're not actually taking care of your mental health. You need to be able to enjoy that time separate. It's the same thing for work. I know it's hard to do, and it's hard to turn that side off of your brain. But I know there's a lot of times, even I'm at work, or if I'm doing schoolwork, then I'm worrying about work, and vice versa. And it is exhausting. So I completely agree with what you said. You got to learn how to keep things separate.
Definitely. So for my next question, it is, how do you support student leaders in balancing their leadership roles with academic commitments?
Okay.
It's a tough one.
I'll do it really quick. So I think as people that work at the school, leaders who work here at Mott, we have to identify student leaders. We usually identify you guys. We're like, hey, you guys want to be on SPAC? Hey, do you guys want to run a club? But we also need to identify the fact that we don't overwhelm you. So us as students, when I was a student leader, this does happen with some faculty and staff. It doesn't happen on purpose, but I was asked to do everything. And I was running 8 things at once. And I think that as leaders in the college itself, we have to make sure that we don't ask I'm killing the mic here, but I don't ask Alexis or one of you guys, if I see you being a leader here in SPAC, or if you're running a club, I don't ask you to run every club just because you're a good leader here, because if I stretch you too thin, you're not going to be able to run 8 things. It's just, now I've took all your leadership skills and I've took them and just threw them away. So it's about sustainability. So you can run one thing great. You can't run 8 things well. So
I guess I kind of want to add to this because you spoke about having a good soundboard and someone to go back to. Would we want to talk more about delegating with the team? Like, so say I'm in the board on Dental Hygiene Club. I need to talk more with the other board members and delegate better instead of saying yes to everything and being like, hey, I don't quite have time for this. I got assignments due. Can you help me out with this?
Yes. And as an adult, and I'm not saying you guys are adults. I just felt like I was adulting you as
I'll take that.
okay. You can take it all you want. As a leader now with the college, I have a partnership with an outside community partner, which Alexis knows about. And I was feeling the work was unbalanced. This actually works out pretty well. And I had an incident because I got a hold of this community partner and told them like, hey, I'm feeling like I'm doing all the work and I'm burnt out. And I had to call them out a little bit, and they felt really bad. And then now the work is evenly balanced, and now things are working really, really well, and it's actually moving forward much better. So sometimes, like you just said, delegating, walking in and saying, listen, I'm doing all the work. I'm dying. I'm burnt out. I'm exhausted. I can't do this. I need your help. And usually people are like, okay, I didn't know that you felt that way. What can we do? And then you work together as a team, and then all of a sudden you're moving forward full force. So usually being transparent works.
I completely agree. And especially as student leaders, typically like whatever you're doing is going to be being run by like an advisor or some type of staff or faculty, right? And so if you are starting to get to that point, talk to that person, express your concerns, and they should hear you out and help you. Because I know when I was a student leader, similar things were happening when I was working. And me and like one other student were doing a lot of the work, and other people just weren't participating nearly as much. And it was noticed, thankfully. And basically the staff that I was working under sat us down for a team meeting and kind of just called everyone out and said like, hey, you guys need to start picking up your share because these two people, me and the other worker, they can't do everything. You have to be able to do more. You just have to communicate. I'd say communication is going to be key. And then also, in the terms of balancing things, get used to using your calendar. Get used to using your calendar. Plan things out. Look at your whole semester schedule. Look when those big assignments are due. Make a note in your calendar when you need to start looking at those assignments, when you need to start working on them a little bit, when you need to do your readings compared to when your discussion board post is due. And then also, I know a lot of classes, you'll have your discussion board and 2 replies, but sometimes those replies have to be on different days or else you won't get the credit. Yeah. And so you have to make sure you're scheduling everything out to fit with your schedule as well.
Preach. So true.
Okay, so I have 2 last questions for you guys. It is looking back, is there anything would you have done differently as a student leader?
Anything I would have done differently? Even though being a student leader, I mentioned how I was really shy and quiet and outgoing, and it was really hard for me. I would say just try to talk to more people. Try to make those connections because, like I said, you never know when that networking is going to have your back. You never know in that kind of a situation. Just take advantage of the opportunities while you have it, if you can. But that's the key thing. If you can, some people might not have that mental capacity to be able to do more than they're already doing, and that is completely okay. Know your limits, and that's fine. That's okay. You don't have to do everything.
And then for the last question, what is your favorite memory or achievement from your time as a student leader?
Do you want me to go, Jen? Okay. I have so many favorite memories, and this is what I'm saying when I say take advantage of those opportunities. You never know. When I was a student leader and I was working in student life, I got to go to a leadership conference in New York, and we got to go there for a week, and it was absolutely, the conference was amazing. We stayed right near Times Square. You never know the opportunities that you have unless you look out for them. And so I would say that was a huge opportunity for me because I come from a low-income background coming into Mott, and so I've never had opportunities like those available for me. And so being able to go and do that was absolutely incredible. It was one of my first times being able to go out of town like that, and it was amazing.
Okay, thank you guys so much for the great podcast today. I value all of your amazing input. For those of you that are listening, we hope you have learned a few tips to survive, as a student leader. Thank you to all of our alumni in the room. If you have any comments, questions, please leave them in the comment section below. We would love to hear from you. And if not, like, comment, and subscribe to hear more.
And that is it for this episode of Bear Blast. Thanks for hanging out with us. Be sure to follow us so you're always in the know about what's happening at Mott. And for even more Bear content, check us out on TikTok and Instagram. Just search for MCC Student Life. Until next time, go Bears!